ఇంటర్మీడియట్ విద్యారంగంలో అగ్రగామి మన ఎన్ఎస్ఆర్ ఇంపల్స్ ఎడ్యుకేషన్ ఇన్స్టిట్యూషన్. ఐఐటి జేఈఈ అయినా నీట్ అయినా తిరుగులేని విద్యా సంస్థ ఎన్ఎస్ఆర్ ఇంపల్స్.
Good morning. Today's topic is Van der Waals equation. Van der Waals is the name of the scientist, right? So in the last class we have studied that there is no ideal gas. All gases are real gases. Real gas deviates from ideal behavior. So at some conditions of temperature and pressure, they do not obey ideal gas equation, that is PV equal to nRT. So Van der Waals has proposed that there are two invalid assumptions that were made at the time of kinetic gas equation, during the derivation of kinetic gas equation, because of which the ideal gas equation is not applicable for real gases at all conditions of pressure and temperature. So he proposed two corrections in ideal gas equation so that that is applicable for all real gases. Let us see what are those invalid assumptions. The first one is, while deriving kinetic gas equation, there it is assumed that there are no intermolecular forces of attraction in gases, in ideal gases. So in ideal gases, between molecules there is no intermolecular forces of attraction. If there are no intermolecular force of attraction, a gas cannot be liquefied, but a real gas can be liquefied. So what we are talking about is two gases. One is ideal gas and other is real gases. So here between ideal gas molecules there are no intermolecular forces of attractions. If there are no intermolecular forces of attraction, you cannot liquefy, but a real gas can be converted into liquid. That means it possesses intermolecular forces of attraction. So this is one invalid assumption, right? In ideal gas there are no intermolecular forces of attraction, right? But in real gases there are intermolecular forces of attraction, because a real gas can be converted into a liquid. So this is first invalid assumption. What is the invalid assumption? There are no intermolecular forces of attraction between the gas molecules, which is not correct at all conditions of pressure and temperature for real gas. The second one is, the volume of the container is volume of the gas, but in the case of real gas, some volume is occupied by the gas molecules. Some volume is occupied by the gas molecules. But in the case of real gas, we neglect the volume occupied by the gas. So this is actual volume of gas. Now this is volume of the container is volume of gas. In case of ideal gas, volume of the gas is volume of the container. Here also volume of the gas is volume of the container, right? Based upon the assumption that the volume occupied by the gas, the actual volume of the gas is negligible. But in the case of real gas, if I decrease the pressure, if I increase the pressure, if I keep on compressing it, a point will be reached from here to here. If I compress, then this is the volume of the container, no? That is volume of the gas at this particular pressure, and the actual volume is half of the volume of the gas. That means at high pressure I cannot neglect the actual volume of the gas compared to the total volume, right? So actual volume of gas cannot be neglected at high pressures in the case of real gases. So these are the two invalid assumptions. So what he proposed is corrections. One is pressure correction and other is volume correction, so that the equation is applicable for all real gases. Let us see what are these corrections. volume correction. So let us take the same ideal gas and real gas. So this is ideal gas. So Pi Vi, I means ideal gas. For one more let us take RT. Here we are taking real gas. Same quantity of real gas. In case of ideal gas, this Vi, what does this Vi represents? The volume that is available for the free movement of gas molecules. The volume that is available for the free movement of gas molecules. How much volume is available? The total volume of the container. But in the case of real gas, the gas molecules occupy some space. Because of this, the entire volume of the container is not available for the free movement. That means the volume that is occupied by the gas, let us assume this volume. Out of the total volume, this volume is not available for the free movement because this is occupied by gas molecules. This is occupied by the gas molecules. So this much volume is not available out of total volume. So how much volume is available now? Total volume minus volume occupied by 1 mole of gas. So how to imagine this? Consider a classroom. Consider a classroom. Imagine there are two cases. Case 1, there are no benches in the class. Case 2, there are benches in the class. First case is the classroom is completely empty. Say you are the gas molecule. How much volume is available for your free movement? The entire volume of the class is available because there is nothing else in the classroom. But if you imagine in the case 2 where there are benches in the class, if the benches are present, you cannot move through the benches. Whatever the volume that is occupied by the benches is not available for our free movement. Right? The volume that is occupied by the benches is not available for our free movement. In the same way, instead of benches we have molecules. The volume occupied by the gas molecules is not available for free movement for other gas molecules. Suppose if I take this gas molecule, it is occupying this much volume in this total volume. Out of this total volume, the volume occupied by this is not available for the free movement of the next molecule or other molecule. So this volume should be removed. So what is the volume of the container if I compare with ideal gas? It is equal to Vi. Vi equal to volume of the container minus volume occupied by this gas. So let us represent it with letter small b for 1 mole. So the free volume that is available is volume of the container minus volume occupied by 1 mole of gas. If I have n moles, then it is multiplied with n into b. So this is for 1 mole of gas and this is for n moles of gas. What is this B? Once again, volume of ideal gas equal to volume of the container minus actual volume occupied with the 1 mole of gas. So here B represents volume occupied by 1 mole of gas which is not available for the free movement of gas molecules, or this is called excluded volume. Excluded volume, or you can call co-volume. What does B value indicates? B value indicates the effective size of gas molecules. Effective size of gas molecules. Larger the size of the gas molecule, higher will be the value of B. Let us take one example. Imagine you have two gases, gas 1, gas 2. The size of gas 1 molecule, let us imagine of marble. Let us imagine for our understanding. Gas 1 molecule size is equal to that of a marble. Golilu marble. Gas 2, the molecular size of gas 2 is equal to that of a cricket ball or say football. You can see a clear difference between the size of a marble and football. Which particle occupies more volume? Obviously football, because its size is more. So the effective size of football is greater than the effective size of a marble. In the same way, if I take two gases, say methane and butane, everything else is same. One is methane and other is butane. So if I take methane, let us say the actual volume of methane is I am taking some 6 molecules, 6 methane molecules, and 6 butane molecules. Six methane molecules, 6 butane molecules. So if I arrange them side by side, say they occupy this much volume. So this is butane C4H10, C4H10. If I arrange them side by side, so this is the B value, now this is the B value. Larger the size of the molecule. How can you see? There is one carbon, here you have 4 carbons. 4 carbons occupy more volume. Here you have 4 hydrogens, here you have 10 hydrogens. So the total number of atoms are more. That means the size of the molecule will be more. Effective size of the molecule is more. Therefore, excluded volume is more. So B value for methane is less than B value for butane. So what does B value indicates? Effective size of the gas molecule. Larger the size of the gas molecule, more will be the excluded volume. More will be the B value. Right. Now, what are the units of B? So Vi equal to V minus NB. So Vi units will be liters. V units will be liters, so this must be, NB units must be liters. Liter minus liter must be equal to liter. So N units will be moles. When you will get liters, if B unit is, liter must be cancelled, so liter mole inverse or meter cube mole inverse. 1 liter. And when I convert into meters, meter cube it becomes, a centimeter cube mole inverse. How do you calculate B? B is calculated by this equation, 4 into Avogadro number into 4 by 3 pi r cube, 4 into Avogadro number into volume occupied by gas molecule. Where r is radius of a gas molecule. Four into Avogadro number into 4 by 3 pi r cube. 4 into Avogadro number into 4 by 3 pi r cube is nothing but volume of a gas molecule, where r is radius of the gas molecule. So this is about volume correction. So instead of Vi, what we have to write? V minus Nb, where V is volume of the container, N is number of moles, B is excluded volume or volume occupied by 1 mole of gas. Larger the size of the molecule, higher will be the value of B. That is what we have concluded here. Larger the size of the molecule, higher will be the value of B. Next, pressure correction. So here I am taking ideal gas and real gas. So let us take ideal gas and real gas. Here what happens? So the pressure of the gas is because of what? Collisions made by gas molecules with the walls of the container. So let us consider this ideal gas molecule which is about to strike this wall of the container. When it strikes with some momentum, it contributes some fraction to the total pressure. It contributes some fraction to the total pressure. Imagine that you are throwing a ball onto the wall. The ball will collide with some momentum because it possesses some kinetic energy, some momentum. With some force, it strikes the wall. Here also, the pressure is because of what? Collisions made by gas molecules with the walls of the container. In ideal gas, there are no intermolecular forces. So the gas molecule is free, whether it is present in the bulk or whether it is near to the wall. Since there are no intermolecular forces, it approaches with same velocity, same momentum. But that is not the case in the case of real gas. If I consider a molecule in the bulk, it is surrounded by other gas molecules in all the directions. So the net force acting on it will be 0. But imagine a gas molecule which is about to strike, which is near to this wall, and which is about to strike and contribute some fraction to the total pressure. Now if it is near to this wall, then it is surrounded by gas molecules in opposite direction. It will be surrounded by gas molecules in opposite direction like this. So what happens? They will pull this molecule because of intermolecular forces. So it experiences a net backward pull. In real gases, there are intermolecular forces. If it is present in the bulk, it is surrounded by gas molecules in all the direction. So the net force acting on it will be 0. But if it is about to strike a wall, if it is near to the wall, then it is surrounded by molecules in opposite direction, because here since it is near to this wall, the number of molecules between the molecule, this gas molecule and wall will be 0, let us assume, because it is very near to the wall. So it will be surrounded by gas molecules more in opposite direction, thereby it experiences a net drag in opposite direction. That means the momentum of this molecule decreases because it is experiencing net backward pull because of intermolecular forces. So it will strike the wall but with less momentum than that is expected. How much we are expecting? As in the case of ideal gas, equal to that of ideal gas. But here, because of net backward drag or pull, The momentum of the gas molecule decreases, the kinetic energy decreases, velocity decreases, it collides but with less momentum, hence contributes less amount than that is predicted. How much we are predicting? Equal to that of ideal gas. So, the pressure exerted by real gas is less than pressure exerted by ideal gas. Why? Because intermolecular forces. The pressure exerted by a real gas is less than pressure exerted by ideal gas. So, he proposed a correction factor, P correction. Pressure of ideal gas equal to pressure of real gas plus P correction. He found that this P correction, the decrease in pressure is directly proportional to number of molecules per unit volume and number of molecules striking the surface per unit volume. Both are same. Number of molecules per unit volume, total number of molecules per unit volume, number of molecules striking the wall per unit volume. So, if I remove this proportionality, P correction is equal to A n square by V square. So, this is a pressure correction term. N is number of moles, V is volume of the container, number of molecules, V is volume of the container, A represents van der Waals constant. So, A represents van der Waals constant, which is indirect measure of intermolecular forces of attraction. Intermolecular forces of attraction. A is indirect measure of intermolecular forces of attraction. Stronger the intermolecular forces of attraction, higher will be the value of A. So, make a note of that point. Stronger the intermolecular forces of attraction, higher the value of A. See, if intermolecular force of attractions are high, then the gas can be easily liquefied. Right. So, this is also important point. So, stronger the intermolecular forces of attraction, higher the value of A. I am writing once again, stronger the intermolecular forces of attraction, comma, higher the value of A, and more easily the gas can be liquefied. More easily the gas can be liquefied. So, you may be given two gases with their small a values, A value. They will ask which gas can be easily liquefied. How to identify? Identify a gas which has higher value. If A value is high, that means intermolecular force of attractions are high. If intermolecular force of attractions are high, then you can easily convert the gas into liquid. So, easily liquefiable gases have higher A value. So, example, gases like ammonia, carbon dioxide or SO2, HCl, easily liquefiable because they have higher A value, easily liquefied because they have higher A value compared to these gases H2, He, N2, O2, lower A value. A value is very less, difficult to liquefy. Initially, in ancient days, they thought that these gases cannot be liquefied. Hence, they were also called as permanent gases. They are considered as permanent gases. Why? Because A value is very small, and at that time they don't have the sophisticated instruments or technology to liquefy them. Now we can liquefy hydrogen, helium, etc., which are used as rocket fuels. But in ancient days they don't have the technology, hence they considered them as permanent gases. That means they are always existing gases. But nowadays you can liquefy them. Liquid oxygen exists, liquid nitrogen exists. We use them in the labs for cryogenic studies. So they can be liquefied, but with some difficulty, because the A value is very small. Intermolecular forces of attraction is very small, very less, because the size of the molecule itself is very small. But in ancient days they are considered as permanent gases. So A is indirect measure of intermolecular forces of attraction. Stronger the intermolecular forces of attraction, higher the value of A. Higher the value of A, more easily the gas can be liquefied. We have studied two parameters to identify whether a gas can be easily liquefied or not. What are they? One is small a and other is compressibility factor. If the gas is liquefied easily, then A value should be more. This is one way of understanding. Or compressibility factor should be less, as much as possible. Actually Z should be less than 1 for real gases. If it is much less than 1, then it can be easily liquefied. These are the two parameters which you have to remember, right, to identify more easily liquefiable gas. So units of A. P correction equal to A n square by V square. So pressure units are atmosphere. So this entire thing units must be in atmosphere, must be equal to atmosphere. So A units must be. There is no P value here, so it should be in atmosphere. First thing, atmosphere should be present. Next, you have n square in the numerator, so you will get at the denominator here. N, number of moles, so mole square. Then only these two units will be cancelled. You have this in the denominator, so you have to write the units in numerator for A here, that is liter square. So liter square will be cancelled, mole square will be cancelled, left over it atmosphere will be cancelled. So atmosphere, liter square, mole power minus 2. So you can convert into Newton per meter. So this is Newton per meter square. Liter, meter cube, liter square, meter power 6. Mole power minus 2. So further you can simplify Newton meter power 4 mole power minus 2. So instead of Pi, what I can write? Pressure of the gas plus A n square by V square. Pi equal to pressure of real volume of the gas minus NB for n moles equal to NR. This is Van der Waals gas equation for n moles. So, if n equal to 1, you will get Van der Waals equation for 1 mole. So, this is Van der Waals equation for n moles, this is Van der Waals equation for 1 mole. Substituting n equal to 1, n square, that is 1 square, you will get like 1 into B, n RT, 1 into RT, RT. P is pressure of real gas, A, B or Van der Waals constants. A comma B, we call them as Van der Waals constants. The value of A and B only depends upon nature of gas. Only depends on nature of gas and doesn't even depend upon temperature. If I change a gas from one gas to another gas, then AB values should be known to use this equation, otherwise I cannot use the equation. So, pressure of real gas, A, B Van der Waals constant, V volume of the container, volume of the gas, R is gas constant, T is temperature in Kelvin. So, A and B are Van der Waals constant, only depends upon nature of gas, doesn't even depend upon temperature. If you change the gas, then AB value changes and you have to know their values to use this equation. So, already we have studied about A units and what does A value signifies, B units and what does B value signifies. So, let us study applicability of Van der Waals equation. Applicability of Van der Waals equation. So, whether it is applicable, whether it explains the behavior of real gas or not. So, starting with Van der Waals equation for 1 mole, P plus A by V square into V minus V equal to RT. So, first at very low pressure, I am applying the condition at very low pressure. What happens? So, if you recollect the compressibility factor at very low pressure, Z is approximately equal to 1. Let us see whether you will get that equation or not. For real gas, Z is approximately equal to 1. So, if pressure is low, V is inversely proportional to P for gas. If pressure is low, at very low pressures, if pressure is very low, then volume will be high. So, if volume is high, then V minus B can be approximately taken as V, because A and B values are very small. B value can be neglected. V minus B approximately taken as equal to V. B is very small and can be neglected because V is high. Compared to V, B is very small. So V minus B I am approximately taken is as equal to V. B is very small, can be neglected under this condition compared to V. So B is very small and can be neglected compared to V. So V minus B approximately taken as V. Substituting here, what I will get? P plus A by V square. V minus B taken as V approximately equal to RT. So multiplying P into V plus A by V equal to RT. Proceeding further, PV equal to RT minus A by V. So dividing on both sides with RT. So what I will get? PV by RT so what is this P? Pressure of gas, volume occupied by molar volume of real gas by RT. Molar volume, because we are taking 1 mole, by RT is nothing but its compressibility factor. Therefore, Z equal to 1 minus A by VRT. A value will be positive, it is very small but it is positive. V is positive, volume cannot be negative, right? R is gas constant positive, T is temperature in Kelvin, which is also positive. 1 minus some positive value, 1 minus some positive value will be less than 1. So Z is less than 1. So at low pressures, right, Z is approximately less than 1. So let us write low pressure. So it explains the dip in the curve. Z value is less than 1. So it explains the behavior of real gas. If you recollect, we are talking about this one. This area, the dip of the curve. This is low pressures. The next one is at high pressures. So let us see at high pressures. What is Z value at high pressures? At high pressure, Z value is greater than 1. Let us see whether you will get or not. Right. If pressure is high, so if pressure is high, volume is less. So B cannot be neglected now. But what we can do? P plus A by V square. A is very less. A is very less. Since pressure is high, this value is high, so this is smaller value. So at high pressures, A by V square value can be neglected in comparison to P. So under this condition, A by V square can be neglected in comparison to P. Therefore, if I neglect this value, what I can write? P plus A by V square can be approximately taken as P itself. Substituting in this equation, P V minus B equal to RT, PV minus PB equal to RT, PV equal to RT plus PV. Dividing with RT on both sides. So what we get? PV by RT equal to RT by RT plus PB by RT. So this is nothing but Z for real gas, 1 plus Pb by RT, P positive, B positive, R positive, T positive, 1 plus something positive value is Z is greater than 1. So it explains the real gas behavior. Next, third one. Under what conditions a real gas behaves like ideal gas? So that we have already studied. At high temperature, low pressure. If it behaves like ideal gas, Z should be approximately equal to 1. Let us see whether we will get that. Now, V is directly proportional to T. If temperature is high, then volume is high. Next, V is inversely proportional to P. If pressure is low, then volume should be high. So under this condition, V is very high. Since very high, V minus B can be approximately taken as V, because B is small. B and A value will be small in general. And one more thing, A by V square can be neglected. Let us see why. Since V is very high, 1 by V square will be very less. 1 by V is very less, 1 by V square is much less, right? So 1 by V square into A will be much smaller. So A by V square can also be neglected because V is very high. So A by V square I can neglect, and B value I can neglect. So I am neglecting this value, I am removing this value and this value. Left over is PV approximately equal to RT. Dividing with RT, so for real gas, this is compressibility factor approximately equal to 1. That means a real gas tends to behave like ideal gas. What we observed, Z is always greater than 1. Let us see whether you will get Z greater than 1 or not for hydrogen and helium. Hydrogen and helium, their size is very small. Small size. Because of small size, surface area is very less. If surface area is less, intermolecular forces can be neglected. Which factor represents intermolecular forces? A, right? A can be neglected because of smaller size. Because of smaller size, very negligible size, very small size, the surface area is very less. Between these two smaller molecules, the attraction can be neglected because surface area itself is less. So if A can be neglected, that means A by V square can be neglected. Intermolecular forces we are neglecting because of smaller size, small value, very small value for these two gases. Therefore, P V minus B equal to RT. So if I neglect this value, what happens? P into V minus B equal to RT. PV equal to RT plus PB. Dividing with RT. So if you divide with RT, what we get? PV by RT equal to RT by RT plus PV by RT. So this is compressibility factor equal to 1 plus PV by RT. That is, Z is always greater than 1. At any pressure, if pressure is small or high, doesn't matter, this is always positive. 1 plus positive value is always greater than 1. For hydrogen and helium, Z is always greater than 1. So Van der Waals equation was able to explain, right, the observed compressibility factors.